Hello everyone, my name is Alicia Lerma and this is my presentation on assistive technology. Assistive technology can help a variety of different things between communication and language, academic and cognition, and then transitioning, and then just general support for students. For communication and language, there is both low-tech and high-tech options for assistive technology. For low-tech, it can be a picture exchange board, which is that bottom right board that has little icons on it. Students can use these icons that are there to put them into a sequence to indicate things that they may want, things they need, through all the different icons that are provided to them. And as they become more skilled at using it, additional icons can be added. Eventually it becomes like this big book of icons they can select from, different sentence stems they can use. So that is an option for a low-tech way for somebody to communicate. There's also a visual schedule board, which allows them to communicate things that they must do that day, whether they have finished them. It's kind of like a checklist for students, but it has visual icons, and that's that picture on the left, that long picture. For high-tech options, typically for communication and language, assistive technology looks like an iPad with communication apps. So that would be that top one above. There's different types of apps. There's like a Prolo to go. There's LAMP. There's SnapCore First. So there's a variety of different apps that can be used to communicate. Those are usually suggested by like a speech and language pathologist, and they're able to kind of suggest one that would work best for the individual. So they basically just push on the button and then it translates whatever they say into speech, and you can choose different voice types to use with it. There's also text-to-speech devices that can be used where students are typing words or again clicking icons. This bottom one is a Toby, and so students, there's the ability to use eye gazes in order to select icons for people who have like cerebral palsy or other types of disabilities that prohibit them from using their hands, so that they can use their eyes to communicate. And most of these can be purchased from Amazon or PEX USA. Devices can be bought anywhere that sells like iPads or tablets, typically like Best Buy or Apple directly. And then apps can be purchased through any app store, Android and Apple. For academic and cognition assistive technology, there are also low-tech and high-tech options. For low-tech, you have pencil grips and weights, manipulatives, and Elegant boxes. Manipulatives can help in a variety of different ways, math, reading. There's lots of different types of manipulatives, and those are low-tech because they don't require any technology. Along with the pencil grips and weights that help with writing and stability for students using their pencils to write. And then Elegant boxes can help with sounding out words, isolating and blending those sounds. For high tech, you have computer or iPads that may have educational websites such as Boom Learning, Imagine Math, Imagine Reading, Dreambox. There is tons of websites and apps that can be used on a computer or an iPad to assist students academically, giving them that extra support. There's also options to do speech to text typically on a computer or an iPad. So students can, just how I'm doing now, vocalize whatever they want to be said, but it turns it into text for them so that they don't have to write. This can be used to complete most any assignment that a teacher may assign to a student for academics who may not be able to write. And then there's also voice amplification systems like this little speaker and headset that can make a teacher's voice amplified for students that may be deaf and hard of hearing, or require that extra sound to be heard in order to be able to have that better cognition of what's being taught to them, do better in academics because they can hear it better. Most of these can all be purchased at a teacher supply store or Amazon. Devices again can be bought at Best Buy or Apple, and then typically like apps or educational websites are free, or you can purchase a website subscription from the website directly. As far as transition assistive technology, this can be used for both preschool and also all the way to adulthood, depending on what transition that student is making. For low tech, you have visual timers, adaptive eating utensils. There's a picture of multiple different types of adaptive eating utensils, depending on what that student may need. And those utensils can also be adapted for anything: toothbrushes, hairbrushes, toys, paintbrushes, markers. So it's not just for food. For high tech, you have smartphone controls that can help a student who's an adult be able to live independently on their own by being able to control all of their things in their house through their smartphone, such as the water, being hot, turning on water hot and cold, turning on and off lights in the house, turning the door lock, the AC. They have very unique smart home controls these days. And then there's also electric and power wheelchairs that can help adults or younger children get around easier and being able to live independently, being able to get around on their own. And these can be purchased through Amazon, Lowe's, or especialneeds.com. It's really important to take in consideration that one size does not fit all when you're selecting assistive technology to use with students. It's also important to not recommend assistive technology based on cost, such as selecting something that is high tech versus something that is low tech without taking in consideration maybe you're selecting that because you think it's best for the student when something that's low tech could work just fine and is more cost effective. However, it could also be the opposite, selecting something that is low tech when a student really needs something that's high tech because you're trying to be cost conscious. So don't recommend based on cost. Recommendations should be based on increasing the individual's independence and allowing them to have equal access to opportunities. When we're selecting things based on cost, we're not taking into consideration what that individual really needs to be independent. Each individual that has disabilities has unique individual needs, and so when we're selecting assistive technology, it really needs to be selected based on that specific individual's needs alone and not factoring in anybody else's needs into that because it's really there to support the student's independence and allow them to have that equal access. Here are my references that I used when selecting websites and finding low-tech and high-tech resources. Also, when talking about selecting assistive technology, there are some articles in here that really talked about how to select those devices for students. Thanks for listening.